So the Canadian Shield, life and work. The Canadian Shield is the traditional territory of many Indigenous peoples. Cree, Dene, Innu, and Inuit were the first peoples to live in this region. They lived along the waterways of the Canadian Shield, and the Canadian Shield is sparsely populated. And that word sparsely means that there are many areas where very few people live. It's also interesting to point out that not only is the Canadian Shield the traditional territory of many Indigenous peoples, but also the land that we are on right now was also the traditional territory of Indigenous peoples. And the first peoples that lived on kind of the Kitchener-Waterloo land were mostly the Haudenosaunee and people and the Anishinaabe. Okay, I knew that. So it is also important to realize that the land that we are currently living on was also traditional territory of the Indigenous people. And it's important to think about just land sometimes. Well, maybe we'll save that for another day for getting into more deeply. Let's continue with the reading. The Canadian Shield has many natural resources which create jobs in mining and forestry. So mining and forestry are the two biggest industries for natural resources in the Canadian Shield. So in mining, in the 1800s, the construction of railways required blasting through Canadian Shield rock. In doing this, exposed valuable minerals. The Canadian Shield has nickel, gold, silver, and copper. One of the largest mining towns in Canada is Sudbury, Ontario. There is, maybe one of you will look this up when we do our Padlet, but there's a really cool statue of a gigantic nickel, like the coin, the nickel in Sudbury. And that is because the bedrock all around Sudbury is very rich with the mineral nickel. Moving on, forestry. The many forests in the Canadian Shield make forestry an important industry. Several towns in Ontario and Quebec had pulp and paper mills, which is part of the process used to turn trees into paper. Down here it says choose an industry, either mining or forestry, and draw a postcard highlighting that industry in the Canadian Shield. So you're going to just kind of be drawing an image here on the front of this postcard that might make you think of forestry or might make you think of mining. If you wanted to get some ideas from the internet, that's no problem, but this is to be drawn or sketched by you. And then in just a very small amount of space, you're going to answer this question: why might someone want to visit the Canadian Shield? So in a couple of days, we've learned a lot about the Canadian Shield. We've learned that what it looks like. We talked a lot about how we think of it as a rocky place with lots of big areas of bedrock, lots of water, and lots of trees and forests. And we're learning a little bit about what life might be like there and thinking about these two areas where a lot of people work. So in the mining industry and in the forestry industry.